Hello to the pessimistic, optimistic, and everyone in between. My name is Connor Philippi, and welcome back to the Minnesotan Sports Podcast. And we're at the end of week one, where the optimistic and pessimistic are on very opposite sides of the spectrum right now, and where you jump to conclusions about the teams that didn't do well and did well, and it's just one of those weeks where everyone's just like, "See, I told you," or "See, I didn't tell you," and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing, so I'm not disparaging that. It's just a really fun week to see everyone's reactions because you built up all these games throughout the entire season, and then you finally get to go through all of them and see how it actually pans out after, you're in fantasy land and make believe, just imagining all these scenarios in your head, and then you actually see them play this week, and you actually get to to put your predictions to the test. So if you watched the way I did this last year, it's going to be slightly different this year. So I'm still going to go through every game, but I'm going to go only through the top 5 games or the games that I think have the best storylines, the top 5 of those first, and then I'll just kind of do a speed round of the rest of them. Because last year I was going in depth for every single one, and it was like a 45-minute video. So we will go ahead and start off with the opening game of the season, the Lions and the Chiefs. Of course, we all know by now the Lions win this game 21-20. And I think the first thing we got to do is just say, look, we all know the Chiefs would have won this game if they had Travis Kelce. I mean, it was right up to the wire, last second opportunity for the Chiefs to still take this lead and win the game. And if Tony had caught that pass, or any of those passes he dropped for that matter, the Chiefs would have been in much better shape. Regardless of the reasons why the Chiefs won this or lost this game, the Lions still won it. And I was going into this thinking, if the Lions can even keep this close, they will have made a statement. And by winning this game, they really have proven they are the team to beat in the NFC North this year, especially with the Vikings losing to the Bucks, which I'll briefly discuss here. But regardless of how many players were out, the Lions went into Arrowhead and they took down Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, regardless of the help he had. And I'm not blaming this on Mahomes by any means. He did everything he could. But still, you go into Arrowhead and you win week one. Even with Kelce out, incredible feat and performance by the Lions. The Lions are here. They are threatening. And they're going to be the team to beat right now in the NFC North. Going on now to the Bengals and the Browns. The Browns win this game 24-3, which honestly surprising they won it by that much. Because yes, the Bengals played horribly. The Browns also really didn't play that good. Besides on the defense, horrible QB play on both sides. Deshaun Watson really had a bad showing. Like he showed his legs a lot. He showed that he was a good running quarterback, but he could not push the ball down the field at all. His arm strength is not what it used to be. I mean, I don't know if that's just rust and if he can get that back, but I mean, he was great running the football, but like the rest of the time he really struggled. The question that I have is Joe Burrow, I feel like there's a good chance he's still hurt, and that the Bengals were kind of playing down his injuries, and that Joe Burrow was playing down his injuries, because why would Joe Burrow, even think himself that he could be injured? He has that confidence to him where he's just not, like, he's just like Mahomes was in the divisional round last year. He refused to admit that he was hurt, and I didn't see him favoring his leg or foot, but like he can fight through pain pretty well, and it's possible it was still causing him discomfort. I just can't imagine one of the best quarterbacks in the league, people saying he's the best quarterback in the league, gets a huge extension, and you get benched. You play so poorly, you get benched. I just don't believe that he's 100% right now. I choose not to believe that he just played that game so poorly. And you do have bad games, even as the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But I don't know. And then finally, the Browns defense. It's no joke. I mean, we saw Myles Garrett, everyone else on that line, like even the corners were making plays. I knew the Browns defense was going to be pretty good, but I just kind of underestimated how good their defense would be. The Browns win this game, and the Bengals, they start off slow every single year, so they're going to have to figure that out. Next, we have the Dolphins and Chargers. This was the game of the week for me personally. Two teams that I really want to see perform well this year. the Chargers I always root for every year, and this year I happen to be really high on them as well, just as a team. The Dolphins also, like, I was very skeptical of them because of the injuries to Tua, but Tua had a absolute crazy performance, threw for over 400 yards. Tyreek Hill is him, like, he is an amazing speedster of a wide receiver. And obviously these are things we already know, but just he made sure we knew them this week. Fantastic performance by the Dolphins offense, and the Chargers really did it all with their rushing attack. Like, it's really impressive that they put up 34 points, almost came back and won the game, even with, their rushing attack doing everything all game long. I think they started off with it, they realized how well it worked, and they just kept churning at it. So I think the issue there was that Herbert didn't get a whole lot of opportunities to come back and establish himself fully in this game. He never really got to. And so I think it was rough for them in that last drive where they have to all of a sudden score passing the ball, and they've been such a running heavy team all game long. I think that kind of messed them up. And now Eckler is unfortunately injured for both my fantasy team and for the Chargers. That's bad news. And so, but Kelly is also very capable. I'm not saying he's better than Eckler, but this rushing attack, very capable with him still in there. I'm not too concerned about the Chargers because for the most part, I believe the Dolphins won this game. The Chargers didn't lose this game. They did lose it, but you see what I mean. The Dolphins did everything they could to win this game. The Chargers just happened to be not quite as good. And so I think the Chargers are still going to be good for the season, and I think both teams put up a lot of positive things in this game. The Packers win 38-20 to the Bears, and as Vikings fans, as Bears fans, and as Lions fans, we're all wondering the same thing. It cannot happen again, can it? Like, every single time you get Brett Favre in there, he finally leaves. You got Aaron Rodgers all of a sudden come in there. He performs lights out. And then you have Jordan Love come in here, and, like, I'm not saying he had an absolute all-star showing, but he played really well. And I don't want to, you can't jump to conclusions because every player comes in, they have, like, a good breakout game. Like, I'm nervous again because it happens all the time with the Packers. They get so lucky and they don't know what it's like. Like, the last 3 or even 4 generations of Packers fans have not known what it's like to be in limbo with your quarterback situation. And it's so infuriating as a Vikings fan that they get so lucky every year. And the Bears, I feel like, were just really overhyped going into the season. Obviously, again, it's a week-by-week basis. It's only week 1, but if you're making a big generalization, the Bears were definitely overhyped by their fans going into the season. The Packers, who knows? Maybe they do end up being really good. But going into the season, they were just kind of at that mid-level. And the Bears should have been able to at least put up a good fight in this game and potentially win. They didn't look like they had a chance the entire game long. Justin Fields was just awful. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. You can't sugarcoat it. He was just bad. So, rough one for the Bears, and especially in front of their home fans that were expecting so much out of this game. Just tough to see. And then another home crowd being disappointed in a tough to see game. The Cowboys win on Sunday Night Football 40-0 over the Giants. New York Giants, I'm looking right at you. I stuck up for you. Going into the season, I had them as the 5th seed in my predictions video. I talked about, with Darren Waller, this offense is just going to be amazing, and the Giants are going to beat out the Cowboys in the playoffs. I went into this thinking, at least predicting in my predictions, that the Cowboys wouldn't make the playoffs. I had a feeling they were going to falter with McCarthy calling plays. Giants, I believed in you. I stuck up for you, and you give me this. And obviously, again, I'm going to say it again and again in this video, long season, so much can still happen, but come on, Giants. You got to play better than that in front of your home fans. Saquon Barkley, it felt like, was the only player for the Giants that even showed up in this game. So just frustrating things for the Giants. All right, so go through the top 5. Now it's time for a speed round the rest of the way of all the other games. And, of course, as always, let me know in the comments what you think about all these games. Bucks 20, Vikings 17. Obviously, we already talked about this one. Make sure you go check out my raw reaction as I was leaving the stadium to this game. I went to the game, if you didn't know, just frustrating all around. Offensive line was as bad as we've ever seen it. And of course, everyone's going to blame Kirk, but it's not his fault. I explain more in that video. Panthers 10, Falcons 24. Both of the young QBs struggled. Both the quarterback that's actually named Young and Bryce Young and Desmond Ritter, excuse me. They both really stunk in this game, but at least the Falcons were able to win the turnover battle and they picked up the win. Jags 31, Colts 21. Calvin Ridley in this game really made his mark, catching for over 100 yards. I kind of talked him up a little bit this offseason, talking about how I think he's going to be a big facet for this Jags offense, and sure enough, they win 31 or get 31 points out of it and win. Anthony Richardson honestly didn't play that bad. We'll have to see how he does the rest of the season. But against not that bad of a Jags defense, Anthony Richardson showing some good stuff passing the ball and also showing what he can do running the ball as well. So good game for both teams in terms of the Jags. They know what they have to do this season. The Colts, as they try to work their way up to a competitive level in the coming years, this was a good start for them. Titans 15, Saints 16. Just a rough game for both teams. A lot of missed opportunities on both sides. A lot of ways that these teams could have scored that they just couldn't get the job done. However, for the Saints, Carr and Olave were both pretty impressive. Olave definitely making a statement. I feel like he's going to be a big breakout star this year. And Carr kind of doing what Carr does, where he throws for a lot of yards in a game, but doesn't always necessarily do much with it. Both teams just not able to get into the end zone in this game. And Saints lucky that the Titans weren't able to do it either. They win 16-15. 49ers 30, Steelers 7. You guys, you didn't believe me when I said the Steelers were not as good as people thought they were. Listen to Good Morning Football, and I can't remember who it was, but they said that, the Steelers were their pick to get an upset this week, and they this and that. Kenny Pickett, was going to be the next best quarterback for years to come. I didn't see why people thought that would happen, and sure enough, Steelers played awful. So they lose by a lot to the 49ers. McCaffrey, still really good at football. We know this. Ayuk made a huge statement. I think he's going to be a big breakout player this year too, and fantasy players I think are going to love him. Cardinals 16, Commanders 20. This is really just the definition of a mid-off between these two teams. I mean, there's really not much to say when the Cardinals had Dobbs in the game and the Commanders just they won this game because the Cardinals, no one could possibly be worse than the Cardinals played in this game. Impressive that they were even able to score 16. Commanders win just based off of the competition. Texans 9, Ravens 25. This is the team I picked for my upset of the week. That shows you how little I believe in the Steelers that I would pick the Texans over the Ravens. I just felt like the Ravens were going to come out of the gate slow. And guess what? They did, but the Texans are so bad that it didn't even matter. The Ravens just struggled all game long and still managed to put up 25 against this Texans team. Win by 16. Stroud actually had a pretty decent start. Just couldn't really deliver in the red zone. And like I said, Ravens lucky they were playing the Texans. Lamar Jackson really struggled in this game. He's going to have to play better than that if the Ravens are going to overtake the Bengals. And they've got a big game between those two teams coming up next week. Raiders 17, Broncos 16. All I'm going to say is Sean Payton must have spent way too much time kissing babies before the game. Maybe they should have scored more points instead of kissing all those babies. I love to clown on Sean Payton. So glad they lost this game. I hope they win lose every other game throughout the entire rest of the season. Everyone knows I dislike Sean Payton, but the Raiders able to stick this one out. Broncos offense sucks again, just like last year, and we'll have to see if they can improve that. But I don't know. Didn't do it last year. Starting off really rough this year in front of their home fans. Eagles 25, Patriots 20. Honestly, very impressive defensive performance by the Patriots. A lot of those opportunities where Jalen Hurts would have converted on third down in a lot of other games, the Patriots were really stout on third down and even did a good job in forcing some really deep third down situations for the Eagles and really made it tough for them late in this game. At the end of the day, though, Mac Jones couldn't get the job done. And I mean, I think Mac Jones needs more around him. I don't think he's a good enough quarterback to lead a team to the playoffs or even, further than that. So Eagles just too much for the Patriots, and they end up winning the game still after kind of a rough performance by the Eagles, but one they'll definitely bounce back from. Rams 30, Seahawks 13. First of all, I owe Matthew Stafford an apology. He threw for over 300 yards, put up a heck of a performance, and me and so many other people wrote him off fully going into the season. Had is having those arm issues. He didn't show that a whole lot in this game. I mean, props to him. Props to the entire Rams team. Tutu Atwell really made his mark in this one. I did not expect that from the Rams, and I'm really impressed. Nice job for them. And then Geno Smith was just awful. I mean, the whole Seahawks offense was just struggling, and they had so many opportunities to try and jump on the Rams, and they didn't. And the Seahawks have a lot of questions going into week 2. As always, I record this video before the Monday Night Football game, so let's go on to future Connor, who is live on scene at the end of the Monday Night Football game, and go over what he thinks about that game. Well, thank you to Connor in the studio. We just saw a thriller of a victory for the Jets today, and first of all, start off things, Rodgers had that ankle injury right off the bat. No matter how much Vikings fans want to hate Rodgers and this or that, like, it's tough to see that, like, first game of your tenure with the Jets, and, you don't even get a chance to show what you're capable of, and this is the reason why we were anticipating this matchup was to see Rodgers and Allen, but Allen couldn't even get it done against the Zach Wilson-led Jets. First of all, what a catch by Garrett Wilson. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw that was caught. Like I said, a tough game for Josh Allen and the Bills offense. What was that play calling in OT? First of all, the incomplete pass was kind of a bad decision to throw in that direction for a incompletion. And then on 2nd and 15, a screen run or a shotgun, a handoff or a run. Why would you do that on 2nd and 15? Tough game for Allen. He needs to play better in the future if the Bills are going to go far again this year. And then we know for certain after this game that these defenses are going to be really fun to watch. So good game for the Jets, a big win for them because them being able to win this game is huge. Because if Aaron Rodgers only gets hurt for a couple of weeks now, it's important that they win this game so that when he comes back, they can keep winning once again. So huge game for the Jets. We'll send it back to you in the studio. Well, thanks a lot, Connor, and thanks a lot for you for watching this video. That's going to do it. Make sure you go into the comments and let me know what you think about what I said about these matchups. Let me know if there's anything you want to add or if there's anything you think I missed. And just so you know, there's going to be a quick turnaround for videos this week, so make sure you tune in for all of them. Either right after this video comes out on Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm going to be uploading the very next Vikings prediction video, breaking down this game coming up against the Eagles because it's Thursday night right away, and the Vikings have no time to deal with this loss. They have to come right back and play a very difficult Eagles team on the road on Thursday Night Football. So that video is coming out, obviously the next week of action coming up after that. So thanks so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side.